screen. I've put together just some very basic PowerPoint slides. We'll talk through them for about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and then I will show you the pro forma of the month-end file that I'm referring to, basically. So I'm just going to bring up the slides now. Do let me know if you can see them.
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay, great, thank you. So yeah, just as way of introduction then, so my name is Andrew Pullin and I'm the Head of Financial Management at Great Western Trust in Swindon. I've been in the role since February. It's my first role as a Head of Financial Management. I used to be, before that, a Senior Finance Business Partner at Gloucestershire Trust. I was there for 7 years. And prior to that, all of my experience was in financial services and banking. So I'm just going to talk through quickly some of the background and what the issue was that I found, how I went about scoping a solution, how I went about implementing it, and then basically sort of what happens next. And then, like I said, after that, I will sort of give you a quick tour of what the file looks like. So in terms of the background and what the issue was. So as I said, before I joined the NHS 8 years ago, almost to the day, I think it's in 2 days' time I've been in the NHS 8 years. Before then, I used to work in banking and financial services, still doing accountancy and still reporting on month end for various business units, etc. And I guess there's lots of similarities between month end, regardless of what industry you work in. But in the banks, I was very, very used to working with a very structured way around month end. So regardless of what area you worked in, there tended to be a very similar pack that you would present at month end to your managers to explain what the position of that particular business unit or division looked like. So the files were very structured, very formal, and very standardized. And obviously the inputs into those files, the systems, there was varying degrees of how automated it was. But the final output, like I said, was broadly the same, regardless of where you worked. I then came into the NHS, and the overall structure was exactly the same. So there were different divisions within the hospital. But what I found was that those divisions operated in very, very different ways when it came to month end. So they would produce different things. They would manipulate data in a different way, albeit eventually it would get consolidated up into an overall trust-wide reporting. What happened beneath was quite different. So there was no focal point, which is what I was used to. I was used to working with a focal point, which was that month-end file and various schedules which supported the month-end. If you don't have that, what tends to happen is then you might miss key information, which you will get asked for. And if you're not producing it standard every month, then you may have to go away and do a lot of different work in the background to pull together that information. And what I found in the NHS, again, no different really to other industries, is that there's certain things you are going to get asked for every month, which we'll come on to. But, supporting the I&E, you're going to need your WTE analysis, you're going to need a budget reconciliation, you're going to need activity data, etc. All of these things that enable you to sort of tell a story of what's happening around month end. And the problem again, I found was that and if you haven't got all the information to hand, if you're missing things, and if you don't have that focal point, then it can delay what you're reporting up to senior managers on an overall trust level. So when I took over, when I was at Gloucestershire Trust, I basically set my month end up in the way that I wanted to set it up. And then when I joined Great Western Trust back in February, what I really wanted to do now, I was sort of the one responsible for pulling together month end on a trust wide basis, was make sure that all my finance business partners in my team were working to that standardized level. So the first thing I did really when I joined Great Western was to design a file that would give us everything we need, or give us most of the things we need around month end. So what I had to do straight away was look at the ledger structure and see how we reported, what levels we were reporting at, and pick an appropriate level for how we reported month end. And what I picked, which gave us a decent standardised view across all areas, was the monitor group level, which I'll show you shortly. I then designed the template and basically all the accompanying schedules that the finance business partners would need to complete on a monthly basis, again in that standardised format, that would give me an easier job at month end then of interpreting how each division was looking in terms of their financial position. So rather than, each business partner doing their own thing, pivoting things differently or pulling together different information, it was now presented to me in a very standardized and structured way. And then the final bit really was to determine KPIs that were going to come off the back of that as well. So agency levels, etc. And this is still very much a work in progress for us at the moment, is coming up with, I guess, a summary of these files in a standardized dashboard, which we're working on currently. The implementation then of all of this was basically, once I'd designed my template, it was to walk through it with my finance business partners, to get their buy-in and to show the benefits of what I was trying to do, which again, the word I'll always use is standardized. I wanted to get us working in a standardized way so that we were reporting consistently and capturing everything we needed. And it was a change in process for the way they were operating previously, because again, they were kind of doing their own thing, albeit pulling together their month end eventually, but all doing it in various different ways to get there. So once I showed them the file and what they needed to do, then there was definitely buy-in to it, and also buy-in from my manager, the deputy finance director, and the finance director, because what they could see was that then they could go into any of the files and they were looking at the same thing, basically, albeit for different divisions. So they could interpret things quickly and see where there were differences between the divisions. I wrote procedures so that the FBPs can update the files independently each month, so that they own the files. And then what happens is I review the files then with the FBPs each month on workday 5, and they can really take me through the file from start to finish, going through each tab to show me what their position looks like. And then finally, the last point I put on there is just improve and evolve. So what that means really is what we've got at the moment doesn't necessarily mean it's the final version, because as we know, working in the NHS, there's always different things that are coming along, different projects, different things that we need to produce. And what these files are trying to do then is pick those up. So if there becomes a new standard thing that we have to do, what I want to do is incorporate it in the file. So again, it's there every month and it's part of that focal point. And like I said, one of the big things we're in the process of doing at the moment is pulling together a dashboard which can act as an overall summary that we can report at divisional and at sort of executive board level as well, and pulling together our KPIs, our risks, our issues, our mitigations, etc., all into one slide. But basically the underlying driver of all of that dashboard will come from the month-end file and all of the information contained within it. And then Finally, and most importantly for me at the moment, what I don't want the files to become every month is time-consuming, manual, and a lot of hassle to update. Now, at the moment, they're Excel driven, so there's a lot of formulas that update things, and on the whole, it works pretty well. But what I want to do is take that a step further and get our business intelligence and our robotic automation teams to be able to take the file and see if they can basically take it a step further, where it's pretty much produced for us without any manual input whatsoever from myself or the FBPs. And then really all we are doing is literally adding our intelligence and our narrative to it. So that is just a quick update on how I've come about sort of designing this. I'm now going to show you a sort of pro forma of what this file looks like on a monthly basis. So I'm just going to bring this up. So this is an example of a file from our surgery, women's and children's division. And what it is a number of tabs, which, like I've said, make up this standardized. So you could go into any of the divisions that we have within Great Western. They would all mirror exactly what you see here, obviously just with the different numbers reflecting their individual divisions' financial position. I've got a procedure tab at the start that I put together, and this basically gives the instructions of what the purpose of the file is and how to update it each month. So it's a step-by-step approach that the FBPs or their teams can take to update it. Once they get into the flow of things, it only takes about 5 minutes to roll over the file, and then each day over month, then they drop in an updated ledger position from our ledger system, and it will update the file automatically. We have a tab which basically summarizes the Workday 5 review, notes and actions that I add to this, and then the FBPs will go away and work with their teams to action anything that's come about as a result of the month end. This tab then, so the detailed I&E is really, I guess, the core of the file. So this shows our financial position, obviously, for this particular division. We've got the monthly income and costs going across from columns S to AE. We've got the year-to-date actual budget and variance position, and then current month variance to current month. We've got our run rate, and then we've got what our forecast looked like for that particular month and how we've deviated from our forecast. So again, it's coming back to looking at, you know, what all of our, I guess, bread and butter reports are going to be, and what our main things that we're going to have to report on in terms of our year-to-date actuals, our current month variance, and also our run rate. And then obviously the forecast gives us an indication of how we're going to deviate and what we're going to do about it. So we've got that by income, pay, and non-pay. Anything in white, where you see the headings here, are basically the monitor group level reporting structure that we're pulling from the ledger. Anything that you see in blue is where we're doing separate mappings in the background to break down some of those monitor groups into subsections. So importantly, for instance, medical and dental, we've broken that down to be able to show it by senior medical and junior medical, and likewise with nursing between registered and unregistered nursing. So that just gives us some more granular information, especially when it comes to variance analysis. That's important. Down at the bottom, then we've got a breakdown of pay into more detail. So we've got it by substantive, again by all of the monitor group levels, and then we got agency, bank, and locum, again to be able to see that impact of temporary staffing as well. So that is the I&E in terms of its structure, and that is, as I said, replicated across all of the divisions. So everyone would look the same as that. What we've then got is 3 tabs to basically give us our variance analysis. So the FBPs will take the variances that they see on the detailed INE, and they will, for the current month and the year to date, and they'll give the analysis. And this is what we'll go through on workday 5. So we'll run through this and see where we're at, what we can do, mitigating action should go in here if there are any, to be able to help the positions, etc. And we've got that mirrored on the run rate tab as well. So how we're deviating from previous month, if there's any big movements to explain, and why we're seeing it. And then likewise on the forecast tab as well, which is still to be completed. I have an SLR analysis, which is our service line analysis. So this just breaks down the division. Sorry. This just breaks down the division into all of the different services, and it gives a high-level view of which services are driving the particular position on an income pay and non-pay basis. And then, as mentioned earlier, one of the key, I guess, bread and butter things we have to report on each month is our WTE position as well. So we've got it broken down by funded, contracted, and worked. And the key thing here is we want to understand any movements that are happening. And I guess it's the same across all trusts at the moment, especially on funded. If we're seeing our funded move, we need to explain, especially when we're increasing our funded establishment, why that's happening. So over at the side, we have the movements, and then if there have been movements, the FBPs will explain why there have been movements. We've then got activity as well. So this at the moment is quite detailed, but we're hoping to put some summary tables in, and this enables the FBP to see how our activity is changing and what the impact has been on our cost base, essentially. Particularly important for SWC, given the focus on ERF and elective work at the moment. So again, this is all designed to help to support the variances and to help tell the picture of what's going on. We then have a tab for accruals. Basically, we're looking for any material accruals, so anything greater than 20k a month. We're listing out, and we will review this together to get an understanding of, particularly if we've got aged accruals in there, anything greater than 3 months, what the reason is, and what we're doing about it, and whether there's potential to release any of these. And what this is particularly helping with as well is that when it comes to audit time, again, we've got a full list then of all accruals that we can present to the auditors and show an evidence that basically we are reviewing accruals on a monthly basis. And this will get picked up if there are any action points in the tab at the start for the workday 5 review as well. Likewise, cost pressures, any particular cost pressures that are being picked up on a monthly basis, we're flagging here. And this is, again, really helpful when it comes to budget setting. So if we are deviating from budget, and if we need to raise anything through the planning round, then we can on this tab. I think the important thing, again, to list here is the definition of a cost centre at the start, which we've put that this has to be something that is not currently within the funding. So overspends will not generally be considered. These have to be something that are outside of the control of the division. And then again, very importantly, we've got a budget reconciliation that we do each month. So this is just to show how we've moved from our opening balance at the start of the year, both on a recurrent and a non-recurrent basis, to going through each month and showing how the budget is changing. And again, it's, standard controls, but when it comes to budget setting, if we are doing this each month and if it's being updated like this each month, then we've got that running total, and it makes it just far easier to be able to pull this off and help with reconciling our budgets rather than having to go through a one-off exercise. So much easier to do. The efficiency rec I'll skip if that's okay, just because that's a tab in sort of work in progress at the moment. But essentially, it's trying to do a reconciliation between what we're recording on our efficiency savings tracker and how it links back to the I&E. And then we've got two tabs here, broadly similar, but we're going through a particular exercise at the moment where we need to pull off all of our lease and our capital information, anything that's embedded in our revenue position for capitals and in particular leases. We need to flag up and get these flagged to our financial services team as part of the IFRS 16 work. So this is what we're doing here. And again, it's an ongoing monthly thing. So if anything has gone through the revenue position that's capital related that shouldn't, then we're going to annotate it here, get it down here and flagged up to our financial services team. So again, it's just that level of control, and it's something that we can monitor on a monthly basis. And then likewise, we've got a tab in for discretionary spend as well. So this is a new tab we've included this month. But what we're trying to do here is capture anything that is being spent in the hospital that can potentially flag as unnecessary, and things that we can flag as, basically that we can cut out each month. So there's a focus on things like training, books, publications, printing, stationery, those types of accounts that we want to focus on. And the idea is that the FBPs and their teams can take this along to their divisional meetings and flag up items that they've seen from trawl in the ledger that they can check and challenge on with divisions. So it's all in the name of grip and control and helping to mitigate our spend and deliver our financial savings. And then the last couple of tabs, really, I won't go through, but they're just our ledger data. So it's a dump from our system that will drive everything in the pack, especially the I&E tab at the front, and then our various mapping tables that we've got as well to split out the monitor level into those subcategories around registered nursing and HCAs, etc. So that's kind of it from me. So there's nothing, I wouldn't say there's anything revolutionary about it, but what I guess I'm trying to achieve through this is, as I said, a standardized template that every division can follow, and basically make my life easier then as head of financial management to be able to put it all together in a very easy to understand and replicated format, so I can report up the chain. The main bit for me is that we can improve on this by making sure it's automated and making it a much slicker process at the month, albeit it's fairly quick to update at the moment with the base data. And then, as we all know, working in the NHS, things change. So if we do get different things that come along, different projects or different asks from us from the region or from the centre, then we can add it into the pack, and again just make sure everything is centralised in one place for each division, and it avoids us having to scramble around when we need to get information either on a monthly basis or when it comes to year end and we get asked for particular bridge work, etc. Hopefully these files will give us everything that we need and save a lot of time and effort. So yeah, that's it from me. I'm happy to take any questions, comments that people might have.
Hi, I'm Janet from Norwich and Norfolk Foundation Hospital University Trust, whatever. I was wondering, could you advise what finance system you use, please?
Yeah, we use Oracle. I mean, what I'd say about this is, at the moment, you could pretty much put any data download from any system into there, and it's a case of just making sure that the formulas in the I&E and various other tabs map to whatever you need. Whatever your data download looks like. So obviously I've built mine around the data download that comes from Oracle, but I did a similar thing when I was senior business partner for medicine division at Gloucester, and they used a completely different system. So, it needs probably some half decent Excel skills to be able to map it all in. But then, like I said, the end game really is not for me to be having this all formula driven. It's for having it automated in the background so that it pulls automatically from whatever ledger you use.
So are you able to share those files with us at all?
I can, yes. I mean, what I might do is, rather than send you obviously all of the numbers in there, I can certainly share like a pro forma of it. So with all the numbers stripped out, so I'm not giving away anything from one of our divisional positions.
Super, thank you. Can I ask as well, do you use SBS?
We do, yes, yeah.
Hi, it's Andy from Southern Health. What happens if you get a new category appear in the divisions INE? Do you have to then go in and manually add it?
Yeah, we do at the moment. So that's obviously one of the downsides of doing this manually each month, is we have to track that and make sure there's checks in place. So if we do get anything that's unreconciled, we map it in. But again, I mean, we've actually just heard from the RPA team we've got here that this is on their agenda now. So my hope is that in a few months, if we can get them to work on it, then there'll be a way that they can automatically pick that up and map it in. So yeah, I mean, this is for me a bit of a first step interim solution to eventually get this automated. But
yeah, sure.
It would need to be added, yes, manually at the moment.
And do you pull the narratives and the cost pressures and everything into one file so you can see it all together, or do you have to go into each of the individual ones?
No, so at the moment, when I consolidate our trust-wide position, I'll go into our each divisional file and pull and glean all the information I need from there. And in my trust-wide file, I have sort of each divisional tab just there at a high level anyway, so I can see what the key movements are, and it'll enable me then to know which files to go into and pull the information from.
Thank you.
Hi, Andrew. George from West Suffolk. Thank you for sharing your template. My question is around sort of narratives, and when your teams are working on these templates and reviewing their figures. How does this particular template have the facility to add comments per line, or is it that would be something they'd have to bring alongside this with their comments, with their sort of explanation around why is that variance higher than what we expected, sort of thing? Yeah,
I mean, I guess you can't build a file that's gonna serve everything. So I do expect in the background that, for example, what this file will show is at a high level, if, I don't know, let's pick registered nursing, for instance, is deviated by 200k a month. What I'm expecting them to do in the background is to be able to then delve into that, understand what specialty or what the particular reasons are that is driving that, and then obviously add the narrative to the pack that I've sort of looking at month end. If we try to build too much detail into it, the pack becomes a bit unwieldy and a bit difficult to use. So you have to be quite careful at what level you pitch it at. I mean, for me as head of financial management, I'm interested in knowing obviously what the divisional position is looking like and what specialties are driving it. But delving down into cost centre level and things like that, that's really up to the divisional teams to be able to analyse that. But what I want with the month-end pack is to have that summarised for me in that format, which makes it easier just to read and look at, rather than be bombarded with all of the extra analysis that might come from it.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you.
Sorry, it's me again. Do you? I missed the first couple of minutes. You might have covered this. Do you send these out to the divisions once they're completed, or is it for internal use only?
At the moment, these are for internal use. So we use it within finance, and once they've produced their own month-end files, the finance partners, we meet on Workday 5 to go through each divisional position. I then produce a consolidated version, which looks exactly like the file I've taken through there, but at trust-wide level. I present that to our finance director and our deputy finance director. But what I'm also trying to encourage the FBPs to do is that if this is filled in a good way, and especially once we got the dashboard on there as well, it'll be a really good thing to take along to their division. So when they want to talk through their monthly financial position with their ops director, etc., and their divisional tries, then this should be able to act as that focal point for that as well. So yeah, it's designed to be I'm trying to make it to be an all-in-one, I guess, focal point. That's what I want from this.
Thank you.
Oh, Andrew, I just wanted to ask one more question. I've just checked my notes. You mentioned you got a slide for activity or a tab for activity data. Now, how easy is that for you to obtain being in finance, not necessarily having that access directly if you don't have it?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I'm speaking on a regular basis with our head of income and contracting, who's able to pull that information together for us. What I showed you in the pack there was quite detailed at the moment, but what I'm hoping to do is get a more sort of succinct table where we want to show obviously how activity has changed throughout the year, but then we want to do those comparisons back to 1920, which we know we have to do at the moment for elective recovery, etc., and prior year as well, to show how we're doing against prior year. And probably we want that split, I would guess, by specialty and also by point of delivery. So we want to keep this, rather than again the pack becoming too overwhelmed with data. We want to keep this at an appropriate level so that people can easily go in there and tell a story, understand the story and the narrative from looking at it without being too bamboozled. And I think that's especially important, again, if we are taking this out to divisional colleagues, operational colleagues as well, that they're able to interpret it without too much, too much guesswork or questioning of the FBP.
Thank you.
Right, is that Gopa?
Hi, yeah, can I ask a question, please? Gopa Shah, the finance business partner at Hillingdon Hospitals. Andrew, I have a question regarding how long does it take to populate? Because you said it has to be kind of ready by day 5. So would it take long?
Yeah, so we've had a real push over the past, since I joined in February, to bring down our month-end reporting. When I joined, we were kind of reporting more on workday 6, even a little bit later sometimes. But we've now made a rule in the hospital that we pretty much cut off all journals on workday 3. So everything has to be in the ledger by workday 3, and then the FBPs and their teams have workday 4 to basically pull the pack together. And then present to me on workday 5. If by any chance on workday 3 they said actually there's some material journals that still haven't gone in or that will influence the bottom line, then I'll make a judgment call on whether we process them or not. But all of this has sort of been a bigger process really in terms of trying to drive down the month-end reporting timelines. So that we can get stuff into the ledger quicker. And I've really encouraged the FBPs and their teams to process as many journals as they can ahead of month end. So we obviously get payroll, generally a few days before month end. So really start the analysis and the legwork on pay as early as they can. And likewise start, putting in estimates for some things as well. On the premise that these are management accounts, they're not year-end accounts. Obviously, year-end's a bit different, but on a monthly basis, we just want to get the position as accurate as we can without turning it into a year-end process every month. So, you know, I want them to basically have as much time as they can to make the narratives in the pack as meaningful as it can be. So, you know, we're still encouraging them now to even bring down the deadlines even more, so that, you know, they have more than just Workday 4 and potentially part of Workday 3 to add to the narrative. So it's an ongoing process. Like I said, you know, I haven't done the pack and gone, right, that's the end of it. It's finished. There's just things that are going to come up all the time, but that's the challenge for us, is to really, you know, the value comes from the narrative, doesn't it, and the intelligence that we can bring to it.
Thanks. Thank you very much. I just have one more question. You did mention you're developing a dashboard. Is this for the KPIs, the key, like, what are you looking to build upon? Is it agency, bank spend, or what kind of?
Yes, a lot of the temporary staffing is a big thing across the NHS. So that will be, and we have our agency caps each year. So that will be definitely one of them. I want us to get into more, you know, other things as well. So around, you know, looking at things like invoicing and how much we have that's not yet been, you know, non-POs as we call it. So those types of things, good received, how that's changing each month. So not just necessarily the headline financial numbers that you see on the I&E, but also the things that are underpinning it, and some of the processy style stuff as well. So KPIs on what we're doing to improve that, and also some balance sheet measures as well, because obviously that's very I&E driven, but an important part of it is going to be the balance sheet. So looking at debtor days and you know, what's our outstanding debtors and creditors for the division. So things like that. But yeah, it's a work in progress. But the key with the dashboard really is that we've got something that the FBPs can again present to their divisions with some really snappy graphs and tables to show them what everything is looking like, and then they can easily slot those into various reports that they have to do each month for the execs and for their divisional boards as well. So again, trying to cut down on replication that we might do, or reinventing the wheel with different packs.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for your presentation. This is Vivian from County Durham Darlington NHS Foundation Trust. I'm just wondering, so you just mentioned you finished the position by kind of like cosplay day 3. And does that mean because this dashboard needs to be on ready day 5, then does that mean your forecast just one day on day 4?
So forecast we're reviewing at the moment. The thing with the forecast, I agree, it's very, very tight. So what we're trying to do is either go with a retrospective forecast. So we might use the previous month's forecast tweaked if we need to for the latest month, or we just go with a simple extrapolated forecast. But at the moment, we're reporting our forecast retrospectively. So we have further meetings after Workday 5 to look at what our next forecast will be. And we're tending to go for Workday 10 for that at the moment. I don't see how we can produce a really good in-depth forecast at the same time as month end, if I'm being honest, unless we are doing a lot of the prep work in advance, and then it just becomes a tweak to the previous forecast. But obviously, we want to get divisional colleagues owning that forecast as much as we can, and I think it'll be too tight to basically get them fully signed up to it by Workday 5 for the current month, which is why we're doing it retrospectively at the moment.
Right, thank you.
Looks like that's it for questions. Thank you very much, Andrew. That was very interesting. I hope everyone else found it useful.
Okay, I'll like I said, I'll send out a template then of what the pack looks like if people would like to see that. and hopefully, yeah, it might be use to you in the various trusts you work for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All
Thanks,
right.
Andrew.